I'm Pete. I'm one of the co-founders of DeeThree. We got affiliated halfway through our time as a company by Northampton University for some of the stuff that we were producing for them. We got students involved in live projects to up their portfolio. The company's just been sold 2 weeks ago, which is nice. I'll talk more about that in a bit. There you go, lovely picture. This is me, obviously. Joe, who co-founded it with, looks like a midget next to me. Everybody mentions that in the pictures. Joe and I are very good friends, and we played loads of Minecraft together all the time. We were actually freelance before we set up DeeThree, and during the 8-hour sessions sometimes that we play Minecraft, we always used to talk about 3D printing. Used to love it. We actually went to a computer game bar, they do exist, and we, for our friend's birthday, ignored our friend, talked just about 3D printing. 2 days later, we set up DeeThree as a company. My background, I haven't got a slide for this, but my background was architectural model making. So it's nice to hear what Luke was saying about how all the stuff you were saying about model making and how it's a really fast process. Yeah, there's so much stress with that. Joe's background was in the visual effects for the movie industry. So his background was films, assets, weapons. Mine was the physical aspects. Bit of a statement, but 3D printers can't do everything. So when we were making loads of models, people's expectations were seriously high. They expect vacuum form finishes. They expect the kind of the flush finishes like on phones. They want the most pristine stuff, especially architects. Joe's background was in the movie industry. He did a lot of work with Hollywood. You obviously know the visuals for Hollywood are super, super high. That's Joe's part. People were really bad at modeling for 3D printing. These were our two things that we noticed when we were out at a computer games bar talking about how we could impact the market. So Joe, as a kind of timeline, Joe would work on the digital files. We would 3D print them with bureaus. We didn't own any of the machines ourselves until the latter stages of the company. Then I would post-process the prints and make them look really beautiful. So I'll just give you a couple of examples of that. This is SOCHI Stadium for the Winter Olympics. This was a combination of loads of different types of processes, kind of what Luke was talking about just a minute ago. The skeletal structure of the iron girders was 3D printed. The rest was CNC milled, vacuum formed, and etched for the dome of the roof. And this is a RIBA model, Royal Institute of British Architects, so it has to be super, super high. Arch back to a couple of slides ago where I said 3D printing can't do everything. We bought a MakerBot. I'm not slagging off MakerBot, but we bought a MakerBot FDM thinking, oh, we're going to buy this printer, we're going to change the world, make loads of money. It prints at 0.1 of a millimeter. We tried printing out this structure, didn't work, wasn't good enough. Goldman Sachs, this is a building that's being built in 2016. This is a 2.5 meter long model. Again, 3D printing can't do it all. CNCs, it's the combination of additive and subtractive together to get what the client wants. We subtracted by CNC milling the structure of the stadium. The chairs, I didn't want to make all of them by hand, so we 3D printed those. The stairs has to be the right dimensions, so they were 3D printed. The desks and the windowsill that you can see on the bottom left, that actually changed the design at the end because after the architects saw it, pardon me, they didn't like how the windows looked, and we printed, I think it was 6 different windowsills that changed the outlook of the windows in the end. This is a cool one. This is a FREESAT advert. This is a good example of Joe's modeling skills for 3D printing. So people can't model very well in 3D printing, and you get a lot of split polygons, and I've seen some awful models, awful models, especially SketchUp. Architects, as soon as they say, oh, I've got a SketchUp file, we know we're in for a big one. But Joe modeled these snails from scratch, and there's loads of processes to cheat the machines into getting the finish that you want. This picture doesn't really do it justice, but I actually sent this picture to the client saying, do you want me to spray paint them grey? And he wanted them to be kept because they look like glass. They're beautiful. They were placed onto the actual watering cans for the advert, and then the CG artist had a reference point of where to composite on top of it. So Loads of other models that I can't really talk about and show, but project-based business model is stagnant. So we were ticking along, we were making some money, but what do you do when you have loads of money? You want more. So we transitioned over to an experience, not just a service. Cool, so we thought, what do our skills do? We did visualizations for architects in the past. Joe did loads of assets like weaponry and stuff. We thought, the 3D data can do visualizations, physical models by 3D printing, augmented reality and virtual reality. So instead of just going, letting the clients come to us or us pitching to people, we went to the biggest brands and said, we can do all of this and we'll save you money. We were saving the clients money by taking their 3D data or drawing it from scratch, and then we would port it to all of these four core mediums. So you're not going to third parties going just for visualizations and a physical model. We'll do the whole combination. This was like one of the first ones we did for McKellis Boyd. Really simple. I'm surprised that a lot of architects just draw in 2D plans, just on paper still. They can't draw in 3D, so I drew the whole thing in Rhino, which is in the bottom right, and then laser cut the card, and there's 3D printed elements on the top of the roof there. Really quick model, bashed that in a day and a half. This was a really nice one, I was proud of this. So Joe's background in the movie industry was very aesthetic, so he he models in meshes. My background was in Rhino, like you've just seen, so I model in NURBS. So the combination of both of us together was able to output a lot of content really quick. Kind of what Luke was saying earlier, all of these projects have really short time frames. This project took 20 days to make. That's including the drawing of the boat. So you can see in this section here, we had 12 pictures of the V62. So Princess have a big problem with model makers stealing their blueprints and their CAD data. Then they go to China, they sell the data to the Chinese. They replicate the boats one-to-one scale, no motors, and they just sit in the harbour and they have boat parties. Crazy. So they didn't want to give us any blueprints, no CAD data, so we had to model the whole thing from 12 pictures that just off their website. Did that over Christmas because we were bored, smashed out the file, and then we ported it to 2 applications. We 3D printed 3 620 mil models for the clients that would go on the back of the boat when they came to pick up their actual V62. And then the salesmen were interested in an augmented reality application. So they could sell the boat wherever. Like the physical model is locked to one location, whereas the digital content can be displayed wherever you want. This is kind of a cool picture. So the top one is the physical model, and it's a screenshot off the tablet. So the camera is picking up the piece of paper in front of the actual physical model that we 3D printed, and it's displaying the digital model screenshot off the tablet. The picture below, I don't know, I put that up there because I was kind of proud of myself. It took 2.5 hours to put those letters on the back. So it's a nightmare. But again, expectations of the client, they want the most pristine stuff. So at this point, this model was a combination of milling, 2 different types of 3D printing. So we used SLS for the inside bits because we knew that the client wasn't going to see the seats and the interiors as much. And then we SLA printed the exterior. We laser cut with pearwood the veneer that goes for the decking. The letters that say Bellini, which is the guy's boat, was laser cut with 0.5 of a mil acrylic. And then I put them on, and I didn't want to ruin the nice gloss that I put on top of it. It was a nice port of taking a digital model and porting it to 2 different applications. WebWake, a cool little project. We met these guys in the Cumberland Hotel when we were scanning people in December and porting them out to little figurines. I've seen a couple of people do that. And they came across and they were really interested in 3D printing. They had what did they have? They had an event that they wanted to get people talking, so they wanted a 3D print look. So we actually used our MakerBot for this at 0.1 of a mil, just to show that it was 3D printed. Joe did a visualization, which is in the top left, of what it would look like, just to get their minds around it. Then we found out that there was a lot of B-list celebrities, I'm going to call them, going to the event, and they wanted them to be bling. So they were like, could you spray them gold and silver? And we were like, yes, but you can never live up to people's expectations with gold and silver because they expect the gold and silver that you'll see like here and just the most shiny gold and silver. So we electroplated them with 9-carat gold and 12-carat silver. And the base, we created a recess as well where an NFC chip could be placed in, like an Oyster card. And then when you would tap that against your Android phone or the latest iPhones, it would bring up their website straight away. Nice bit of marketing. Cool, this led into a lot of AR applications, and we were bashing out loads of these at the latter stages of our company. Global street art's a nice tie-in with a physical object. So the author of the book came to us and he wanted to push content to the people that have bought the hardback copy of the book. He's got a very cushy life. He just travels around the world taking pictures of graffiti. So he wanted to push the new images to the people that have bought the hardback copy. There's two in the top left. There's 2 buttons. The home page would be a graffiti cam. The 2 buttons would lead you either to his office or to the slideshow where he could update it every month. Ocean Co. Oh, this is beautiful. This was an AR application and links to visualisations that we did for the boat. So this is a £320 million boat. This is Abramovich's sports yacht. There's only 2 of these in the world. At this point, it hadn't been built. And what Ocean Co do is they build physical models and then they send them to the client. These physical models can get up to £50,000, £60,000. It's a big cost. So they initially were interested in us building a physical model to send to Abramovich. We kind of flipped that and said, why don't we augment your brochure? So this is a trigger image that went inside their brochure, and then you download the application for free, and it brings up the augmented reality boat in 3D, and you can move around it. This had loads of animation in it, like the H at the top had the helicopter flying around the boat, people walking around it, and this was to aid sales. The folder in the bottom was for visualizations of the boat that we did, like the interiors, and that led on to doing 12 boats within the brochure. Cool, Northampton University, so in conjunction when we were using the students there, they had a problem where they've got a new campus and they didn't know how to display it to their prospective students. We took the architectural drawings, we ported them into a games engine. We then, I don't know if you guys have come across Google Cardboard, but essentially it's a bit of cardboard that you can fit together, which is like the girl in the bottom right, and you can fit your phone inside it, and it becomes like a stereoscopic viewer. So we led the clients around the new campus that they were going to build from the comfort of their own home, off their own tablets and phones. So this was put into a prospectus application pack to show what the students will be, where they'll be working in 2 years' time. But the 3 biggest lessons that we learned, Joe and I: small teams. All of the content that you've seen and more, and the stuff that we can't show was just produced by Joe and I, 2 people. There was no need for a massive team. Didn't need to do it. No staff. I mean, we did have the bonus of using students now and again. But there you go. Streamline your production. This is the biggest problem that I see when going to a lot of companies. Pinewood Studios also approached us to buy us out to streamline their process. You get loads of institutions that work separately together, and they don't work together. We used Maya and Rhino. That's all we used. So then we ported different files to each other, and it worked really, really quick. And that's why we were able to produce like the Princess boats in 20 days, the PlayStation 1s in 2. Learn to model perfect for 3D printing. Massive problem. Absolutely massive problem. Nobody talks about this. Nobody talks about this one point. If you come up to me, I'll tell you all of the details about how to do that. But there's ways that you can cheat the machine into getting a better finish. We've seen so many models, and sometimes we can't even amend the files. It's actually quicker sometimes with jobs that we've had, where it's actually quicker to draw the file from scratch than it is to amend the file. Thank you.